Seamlessly upgrading AWS Lambda functions to Node.js 18 or 20, a step-by-step guide. This podcast is brought to you by Business Compass LLC. We are an Amazon Web Services advanced consulting partner. We build and migrate workloads to Amazon Cloud. Our website is businesscompassllc.com. Our phone number is 973-638-2228. Our email address is contact@businesscompassllc.us. Understanding the end of support for Node.js 16 in AWS Lambda. As the tech landscape evolves, so does the need for keeping your cloud functions up to date. AWS Lambda has announced the end of support for Node.js 16, which means that maintaining your Lambda functions on this version could expose your workloads to security vulnerabilities and performance issues. The impending deadline for Node.js 16 support discontinuation makes it crucial for AWS users to upgrade their Lambda functions to newer runtimes, specifically Node.js 18 or 20. The impending deadline and its impact on existing functions. The cutoff date for Node.js 16 on AWS Lambda is fast approaching. After this date, AWS will no longer provide updates, security patches, or bug fixes for Node.js 16. Existing Lambda functions that continue to run on this version might face operational risks and will not benefit from the latest performance enhancements available in newer Node.js versions. Therefore, upgrading is not just a recommendation, it's a necessity. Why upgrade now? Motivations behind proactively updating Lambda runtime versions. Upgrading your Lambda functions to Node.js 18 or 20 offers multiple benefits, including enhanced security, improved performance, and access to the latest JavaScript features. Node.js 18 introduces long-term support, LTS, with better security practices. At the same time, Node.js 20 brings additional performance improvements and new features like the permissions model for more granular control over what your functions can access. Proactive upgrading ensures your applications remain resilient, secure, and compatible with the latest AWS SDKs and services. Additionally, making the switch early allows for a smoother transition, giving your development team ample time to address any compatibility issues that may arise. Preparing for the migration. Identifying affected resources and planning the upgrade path. Before you begin the migration, it's essential to identify which Lambda functions currently use Node.js 16. AWS provides tools such as the AWS Management Console, AWS CLI, and SDKs to list all Lambda functions and their respective runtimes. Once identified, prioritize upgrading critical functions and those that handle sensitive data. Navigating the transition from CommonJS to ECMAScript modules. One significant change when upgrading from Node.js 16 to Node.js 18 or 20 is the transition from CommonJS to ECMAScript modules, ESM. Node.js 18 plus defaults to ESM, which changes how you handle modules in your Lambda functions. Adjusting file extensions and import/export syntax. To use ESM, you'll need to update your file extensions from JS to MJS, or define type, module in your package.json. Additionally, replace require statements with the import syntax and update export statements to use the export keyword. Adapting to changes in AWS SDK usage. Migrating from AWS SDK v2 to v3 for compatibility with Node.js 1820. Node.js 18 and 20 are optimized with AWS SDK v3, which offers modular packages for each AWS service, reducing bundle size and improving performance. Migrating from AWS SDK v2 to v3 involves changing import paths and updating the code to handle the new async/await syntax used by the SDK v3 clients. Example migration. SDK v2, const s3 equals require AWS SDK/clients/s3. SDK v3, import, client, from at AWS SDK/client S3. Ensure that your Lambda functions code is fully compatible with SDK v3 to leverage the benefits of Node.js 1820. Implementing the upgrade in practice. Step-by-step instructions for upgrading Lambda functions. Review and update dependencies. Update your Node.js dependencies to versions compatible with Node.js 18 or 20. Test locally. Use a local environment that mirrors the Lambda runtime to test your functions thoroughly. Adjust for ESM. Convert your code to use ECMA script modules if necessary, as described earlier. Update the Lambda runtime. In the AWS Management Console, select your function and choose Node.js 18 or 20 as the runtime. Deploy the updated function. Deploy the updated code to Lambda and run tests to ensure it operates correctly in the AWS environment. Addressing potential challenges and solutions. Common issues encountered during the migration process. Module compatibility. Some older modules may not be compatible with ESM or Node.js 1820. Consider finding modern alternatives or updating the module code. Dependency issues. Ensure all dependencies are up to date and compatible with the new runtime. Utilize tools like npm check updates to automate this process, ensuring smooth operation post-migration. After migration, monitor your Lambda functions closely. Use AWS CloudWatch to track performance metrics, errors, and logs. Consider implementing retries or fallbacks for functions interacting with external services to handle potential issues gracefully. Final checks and optimization strategies. Final checks. Verify that all functions are running as expected and that there are no errors or performance regressions. Optimization. Review your functions for opportunities to leverage new Node.js features, such as improved concurrency management and enhanced async operations, to further optimize performance. Conclusion. Upgrading your AWS Lambda functions from Node.js 16 to Node.js 18 or 20 is essential to ensure the security, performance, and longevity of your cloud-based applications. By following the steps outlined in this podcast and proactively addressing potential challenges, you can smoothly transition to the latest runtime versions. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this podcast, visit our website, and follow our social media links.